There is this so-called equality which so many people have pushed and have advocated for the world over. The truth is, like, there is no civilized society that can prevail with that so-called equality in place. You can never be equal. That's lunacy. Absolute lunacy. We cannot be equal because actually a man's mind is of a rebellious nature. We are very, very rebellious people. We have that rebellion within us. We don't want to be tamed. We don't want to submit to anyone or anything. So we have to have reasons as to why we ought to submit to a certain thing, to someone, or to a certain law. We have to be controlled. We have to be hindered because we are selfish beings. And that hindrance works for our own very own best. It's for our own interest that we have to be hindered here and there. Because if we don't do that, then we end up harming, hurting, or killing our own selves. That's why you can see a child when he wants to touch on everything, wants to have everything. You have to be there as a parent to hinder that child. He may use a knife because he wants a knife, he wants to play with a knife. He will cry for it, he will cry. He will think it's his right or her right to have that knife in his hand because he sees that you as an adult, you always use that knife. So he happens to think that he or she can also use that very same knife. Give him that freedom and it will get back to you. You'll have to pay the bill, you'll have to spend sleepless nights because he's hurting, because he's crying, because he's having all this kind of pain. Why? Because he wanted that stupid freedom to do whatever he wishes to do. That is us. We don't have to have that freedom to do whatever we feel like we should do. We have to be hindered. We have to be controlled because we are a very selfish people and we have a rebellious mind right from the beginning. If it wasn't out of that, then probably Adam, Eve, and the rest of us will still be in Eden. But because we are selfish, because we want our freedom to make decisions, our own decisions, to pave our own way, because we have a rebellious mind, that is why all the curses we are pronounced on man, woman, and serpent in the Garden of Eden. We don't have to have all these rights, that I have a right to do this. Come on, what right do you have? Well, yes, you have a right to do whatever you feel like doing. Yes, that's why it's the very reason as to why you are in prison. If truth be told, it's the same reason as to why you are a single mother. You have 3 children with 3 fathers to those children. Why? Because you want your rights. And you think you are always right. Yes, you have failed to get married. Yes, you have failed to marry because you need those rights. No, a person must do what I say. I must have this. I must have this in a relationship. What kind of relationship? There is no equality. There shouldn't be equality, and equality is just absolute lunacy. Well, if there was equality in the world, as people want us to believe, why is it that we only have one president? Why is it that not all of us are presidents? Not all of us are ministers. Yes, we all have the same brains. We can think, we find ourselves intelligent, we have studied. Why is it that we are not all judges? We are not all justices of the Supreme Court. Why is it that, yes, they are magistrates, they are what? They are judges of different calibers. Why is it that not all judges are justices? There is only one Chief Justice. Because we can never be equal. Because that Chief Justice and that Judicial Service Commission is there to check for balances and checks on the lower ones, on others. That these other ones, the magistrates, The judges, they have to submit, and other justices, they have to submit to that Chief Justice. And yes, even the Chief Justice has to submit to the Judicial Service Commission. And then we come up and say equality and equality, equality. There are so many rights in Europe. Women have a lot of rights. Children have a lot of rights. Look at their marriages. Do they have good marriages? Are they happy? Look at the number of children that are in prisons in Europe and US. 18 and 20. Because this very same law that protected them when they were children, and they could not be punished to do this and that because of what they had done. It is this same law which is now cruel to them now that they are 18 plus. The same law is now cruel to them, and it's putting them in prison. See that? We don't have to have these rights. It's for our own good, our own nature, our own family to last, for a woman and children to submit to a man. It's for their own good, their own interest. The chain of leadership should be there in a home. Amen.